right, I want to thank you all for joining in to Real Talk Sports. I'm Christopher Patrick, my best friend and co-host, Anthony Weincoop. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. How is everybody doing out there on this nice, good old weekend?
Oh, man, the weekends have been rainy and the weekdays have been sunny. Talk about confusing times, huh?
Right. Can the weather do what you're supposed to? Be crappy during the week and be nice during the weekend? Come on now.
You would think. So, we haven't done this in a while. I want to thank everybody that's going to be listening to this, and I want to also apologize for us not doing this while we had some rearranging and some trying to develop a better show, and hopefully we're going to get some video here soon so you guys can actually see what our ugly faces look like when we talk about these sports.
Yeah, we had to do some maintenance, so, don't thank everybody for sticking with us, though.
It's like being under construction without ever using any tools.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get to it, man. What's been going on is we know that the NBA playoffs have been going on. Obviously, we missed the first and second round. I'm going to recap on some of that. The Warriors have the first round and second round didn't really have Steph. Steph came back in the last 2 games of the second round. Ended up beating out Houston, beating out Portland. Now they're facing Oklahoma City Thunders, and I want to touch base on Oklahoma City Thunders because they, routed out the Spurs. How'd you feel about that?
I felt the Thunder made the Spurs look really old. I mean, we already pretty much had penciled in the Spurs and Warriors matchup for this the conference finals, and all of a sudden OKC just made San Antonio look super old. So I mean, you gotta give props to OKC for doing their job, playing better, and using their young athletic age to their advantage.
Yeah, they did make them look young. I had already at the beginning as them as being, phony. I'm not saying that the Spurs are phony. The talent, we never questioned talent on that team. Not at all. We know what Duncan can do. We know what Manuel could do. We know what Tony Parker could do. The only problem is we also don't know what age can do to you. And,
Yeah, Tim Duncan, he started showing his wear and tear. I mean, the last 2 games of that series, he barely had any points. He even got in foul trouble so much that Popovich didn't even put him in one game. So it's just like age was starting to ticking and ticking, man.
I also want to touch bases on Greg Popovich and his age. He's getting up there in age, and I wonder if his coaching decisions really affected this game because I didn't see a lot of Boris Diaw. I thought I saw a lot more Boris Diaw. They brought in that 7'4" dude, Bond.
Yeah.
And he came in. He's got a nice little touch, but he seems very uncoordinated for that guy that size.
Yeah, it seemed like Popovich's lineup matchups were kind of a little odd. It's just I don't know whether he was trying to give Kawhi the keys to the car and trying to do too much. I mean, you obviously still got to go with your bread and butter, and it's those 3, Tony, Mano, and Tim Duncan. You got to let them, do the work, and obviously LaMarcus and Kawhi will kind of follow along. I think there was just a little too much going to Kawhi too early.
I don't know if LaMarcus is going to be the right piece for Kawhi. LaMarcus is too much of a mid-range shooter, and he shoots to the point where he'll shoot you out of games, which he did. Mm-hmm. You don't go, 1 for 1 for 8 in the fourth and win ball games.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, I know they were obviously the $88 million purchase, so probably trying to make sure he got his touches, but you got to still let, Kawhi do some stuff. You got to let Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I mean, there was a lot of times where Manu Ginobili just passing. Even Danny Green, I mean, I know he was shooting a lot, but even he was kind of lack on his shot, so I definitely think they should have went to their core. But, I mean, hey, better luck next year, San Antonio.
Yeah, it will be better luck next year. I'm tired of people, going off their regular season and thinking that's the answer to their playoffs. Because there's been times where we've seen them have mediocre regular seasons, turn around, win the championship, have great regular seasons, turn around and just poop out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, when they won their championship the year they beat Miami, they only had 55 wins. So, I mean, they were still a really good team. But everybody knows the regular season only matters so much to get to that playoff season. Once you get to the playoffs, man, you got to bust your butt.
And Greg Popovich, this is a shout out to you. It is time for you to give up on Danny Green. You paid him that money to come in and be a sharpshooter, and he has been less than a dull knife. He does not shoot the ball well when it counts.
Yeah, his magical playoff run and all that stuff he had, it's starting to wear off. So I think it's time to find a new sharpshooter and maybe tell him to step in and take some twos.
Yeah, develop somewhat of an inside game, and it's time to build up those role players. I mean, I thought it was terrible you got rid of Marco Bellinelli. I thought he was a big spark for you off the bench. I mean, Patty Mills can only do so much for his size and what he's worth. It's time for you to get some well-rounded players. Kawhi was the best and only start. Maybe LaMarcus, will quit being a trailblazer and start being a Spur.
They're going all in for KD. Maybe KD's the answer.
Wow. I don't know about all that. But, you never know. I mean, I never thought I'd see the Spurs go after LaMarcus Aldridge and drop some dough. They're usually built through the draft. And to be honest, I mean, I need to see more from David West. I mean, is it Tim Duncan retiring? Is David West retiring? Are they retiring at the same time?
I think it's going to be a four-way retire rodeo next year. Tony, Mano, Timmy, and David West. They all going to retire after this year.
Yeah. You might even throw in Matt Bonner. It might be a whole team retiring from that team. So I want to move on to a little bit of the Warriors and OKC. Let's see here. The OKC, in my opinion, stole a game in the first one, 106 to 102 or 100 or something like that. I remember it was still a 6-point game. Golden State Warriors led at the half by 13. Then next Russell Westbrook went off for 19 points in the third and it kind of changed the momentum. What were your thoughts on that game?
I think first half Russ was trying to play hero ball, and I'm assuming, their coach and probably Kevin Durant must have gotten into his butt because he all of a sudden went off. But at the same time, he looked like he was playing within the team, still passing the ball, still playing hard. And then I think also, too, bro, maybe just motivated by seeing Steph Curry drain all those shots before half, so maybe he just wanted to come out and play better.
Everybody wants to go off of the Westbrook 19 points. And I'm going to try to not be biased. I'm a Warriors fan. I'm going to try not to be biased and say too much that's going to bite me in the butt. But it's fool's gold. It's fool's gold. Because you know what? At the end of the day, Kevin Durant made that 1-for-8 shot in the fourth. Yeah, it was a game winner. And yeah, people can go off, well, it's the shot that mattered. But you can't go 1-for-8 every fourth quarter. And in the last two games, we'll get to game two here in a second, where he shot off on the fourth quarter again. And even Westbrook did. I think it was just a case of when you're a team and you're a shooting team like the Warriors, you're going to have days where you can't miss and you're going to have days where you just can't make it. And I think that's just one of those quarters.
Well, we could even throw it on the Warriors. I know game one, Steph was obviously gunning for days and shooting. I think he was like 6 of 14 from threes, 10 for 20 or something from his field goal shot. So obviously he was throwing out bullets just as much, but I definitely think, trying to get in a shootout contest with the Warriors is a wrong move. And obviously the Thunder got away with it game one, but you see it bit him in the ass in game two.
Yeah, and and a lot of it's, I'm going to say it's on the refs back. And I'm going to rip the refs a new one. This playoffs, I'm not even going to talk about the Warriors game. I'm talking about all around. They need to decide what kind of reffing they want to do in the playoffs. It seems like one moment they want to do some playoff reffing where you can get away with a little bit of physicality, and then the next moment you can't get away with no physicality. I understand that if the game's close, the ref can make or break a game. And, any coach will tell you, don't let the ref decide the game. It means don't make the game that close to the point where the ref could decide it. But this is playoff basketball. They're going to be close games.
Yeah, the refs can't keep doing this stuff because you see 1 minute they're calling, hand check stuff in the first quarter, in the second quarter, then in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, they go completely blind to all the same stuff they've seen. I think you have people getting in fist fights and they're like, oh, we don't see nothing. It's like you can't be that blind to, blatant calls. It's just horrible. It's like we're watching the NFL refs, honestly, bro.
Yeah, and there was two major blown calls. One was the James Harden push-off that was for a game winner. Blatant. Even the NBA turned around and called that. And then the Westbrook slide in with the ball call. And those two calls dictated that game. Because if they would have called the push off on Harden, Houston would have been swept. If they would have called the push or the sliding on Westbrook, it could have easily came back. Who's to say? They might have still, because they shot horrible anyways. They might have missed a tying bucket. OKC still would have won. But you didn't give them an opportunity to see what could happen.
Well, you can go a step further. As I was saying, the physicality, you go back to the Toronto Raptors-Miami Heat game, you got Josh McRoberts basically getting clotheslined in the face by Bismack Biyombo, and the refs don't call nothing. But then when he goes to try to hack Bismack Biyombo, they got all kinds of fouls. We're throwing technicals and flagrants. Like, you just can't be that horrible. And that game kind of dictated Game 7 for Miami because they were, not playing well anyways, and that resulted in a loss. It's just these refs are really dictating games, and it's not supposed to be be that way. It's supposed to be the players and the coaches.
Well, yeah, and you go back to even the Pacers were the push on Mahinmi at the last second. So, rule of thumb, you don't want to make the game close enough to where the ref can dictate it. But if you got to, the refs there needs to be a line drawn of what they're going to call and what they're not going to call. And it needs to be some level of consistency. I understand, the NBA is full of fast, younger, more athletic players than they've ever seen. So it's hard to make these calls, but there needs to be a level of consistency.
Honestly, maybe we should go back to some lady refs. I know we ain't seen that many in the playoffs, but maybe the lady refs will call stuff. Because I know we get in the regular season, them female refs, they be catching stuff, and it actually kind of sets the game up a little better. So maybe we need more ladies in the playoffs.
Hey, whatever it takes to call a fair game. I don't care if we have freaking, Lassie out there making them calls or Air Bud. I need some consistency. So yeah, that's how the OKC game's going right now. The Warriors came back in game 2 and just ripped them. Just ripped them. And you know what? To be honest, I don't think the Warriors did anything really different other than the fact that they tightened up. They weren't, the turnovers. The turnovers was huge. They had like 17 turnovers in the first game. Once again, Durant goes, I think it was they did a stat right now. They said that Westbrook and Durant shot to combine 3 shots and only made one of them in the third quarter of last game. That's not going to get the ball done. You're 2 best players in the world, and that's what you rely on?
Yeah, game 2, you definitely could tell that the Warriors came out with a sense of urgency. Obviously, you don't want to go down 2-0. They're smart, so they came out and balled harder. And then the Thunder just kind of blew it because, honestly, I think Russ went back to hero ball. KD had a hell of a second quarter, but then next thing you know, third goes bad. Russ trying to do much. Where's the bench? Get the ball to Adams, Cantor, Ibaka even. It's like, So that's why it's a 1-1 tie, and I think it's going to be a stay split. We're going to go to OKC, and I think both teams are going to take one.
Yeah, I have Warriors winning in 6, so I do have OKC taking a game at home. They might even take the next game at home. To be honest, when OKC won by 6 points, it wasn't enough of a momentum switcher to me. It's too close of a game to switch the momentum. But now that the Warriors won by 40 points, I think they're going into OKC with all the confidence in the world that they can do more than just beat this team. They can embarrass them.
Well, if I'm an OKC fan, you did your job. You did what you had to do. You just needed to get one in Oakland. And no matter how you got it, whether it was by 6, by 40, whatever, they did the job. And so that's the same thing the Warriors got to think. Just got to take one. Whether we do it in game 3, we do it in game 4, you obviously want to take one. But it definitely, for a morale standard, yeah, obviously the Warriors blowing them out as big as they're like, yeah, they didn't do nothing. They stole the game from us. So I think it's a split. I think we go back to Oakland tied up.
Yeah, that's a safe call because I believe that as well. I think, the momentum switch when Curry was, running around the elbow screen, Westbrook tripped him up, blatantly pushed him to the ground, and they didn't make a call. And you could see the look on Curry's face, like, where's that call? And after that, Curry just said, no, I'm not doing with this no more. I've gone through already where you didn't call nothing on Patrick Beverley and got my little behind injured. And then after that point, you see Curry flying into the stadium, just a heart of a champion. And at that point, this dude torched him so bad in the third, he didn't even have to play the fourth.
For me, OKC wins this series if Serge Ibaka steps up more than just doing the 3-point shooting. Serge Ibaka steps up, I got OKC winning this series, but if he keeps playing the same way, I got Golden State taking this 6.
You know what? I'm going to say it like this. I want to give a big shout out to my man, Steve Adams. This guy has been balling. This guy is looking like he wants to be a top 5 center in the league. I know his contract's coming up soon. You got Kevin Durant's contract coming up next season. And if Westbrook opts out, you have his contract. This might be a team where it's, the world's not big enough for these contracts, because they're not a big market team.
I think Steven Adams stays. I think KD and Russ leave town after this is all over.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. So let's before we head over to the East, let's finish up on the West. Let's talk about Curry for a moment. How do you feel about him being a 2-time, MVP, anonymous? Sorry, I don't know why I even said that, but decision. What are your feelings about him? And do you think he earned it, or is he the best player in the league right now in your eyes? How do you feel about my man, Chef Curry?
Well, anybody that watched any part of basketball at all this season, and they even kind of caught a glimpse of the Warriors, they knew he was on fire. They knew he was going to win it. He looked the part. On top of that, he was very angry, very motivated by, not even being on the top 5 heading into the season as a, MVP guy. But overall, man, he is right now the best player in the NBA, but if anybody should be upset about it, it should be Kawhi Leonard more than LeBron. I've seen all the stuff about LeBron. It's like Kawhi was number 2. If anybody's going to be frustrated, it should be him. But nah, man, Steph Curry balled. He did everything he needed to do. He shot the ball really amazing. Obviously, went inside. He proved everybody wrong. Plays defense. Right now, hands down, best player in the NBA. But obviously, LeBron wants to say what he's going to say. But nah, Steph Curry's the man right now, man.
Yeah, it comes down to this. You don't shoot 50, 45, 90 and be a scrub. You don't break 5 records and be a scrub. This guy's, what makes it even more beautiful, we could talk about LeBron, 6'8", 250. The guy's a superhuman, genetic freak. The thing I love about Curry is the guy is 6'3", small, looks like a guy that you would find at a Alberta park shooting around. There's nothing special looking about this guy. He is the guy that does unbelievable things for an unbelievable person. You look at this guy and he doesn't even look like an NBA person. He just looks like a normal kid off the streets, And he comes in and he just does what every kid wishes. He puts hope into people's hearts, You're not going to go to the park and see a LeBron James there. It's just not going to happen. So he's able to relate to people in a way that LeBron or, even Michael Jordan couldn't relate to people. Stephen Curry does not have the off-court issues. He's not, involved in any problems off the court. He is a family man that comes from a good family. He doesn't get on the mic and he doesn't talk trash, and doesn't call himself the greatest player in the world or anything like that. He goes out there and he plays the game of basketball. This guy's earned every bit of it. And you know what? If Curry wins the championship this year, it might be time for King James to maybe relinquish that crown, because he might just be Prince James at this point.
I mean, I think it's definitely going to be hard for him to relinquish that, but I mean, overall, LeBron's obviously going to the Hall of Fame, so I really don't know what he's so upset about, he's so frustrated about, but it's like, man, just go get this championship if you can get it, and then just calm down, because obviously, main thing for him is obviously the championships. Yeah, they could have gave you the MVP. They could have gave you the MVP the last 2 years. Honestly, I think the NBA is just tired of giving you the MVP because your numbers look about the same all the time. And so, obviously, off numbers, you'd get the MVP. To me, I think Steph Curry is obviously our MVP for the next 2 years coming too.
Yeah, and like I was getting, I got a big LeBron fan, and he'll throw down the numbers all day. And I told him like this: if Curry were to get hurt today and never played a game of basketball, I wouldn't care. What he has done already deserves a place in history. A guy that came in, I don't care if he's the best player in the world or ever will be the best player in the world. He won a championship. That's how I felt about Derrick Rose. When Derrick Rose won that MVP, I was like, Derrick Rose, this guy's a point guard and he's doing unbelievable things. It's been a long time since we've seen a point guard win MVP. And he never won them the chip. So therefore, he will get lost in history a little bit. Curry won the MVP, came in, won a championship. And not only by dethroning James, he did what he needed to do. So the fact that his career is going and he only gotten better, the future is just unbelievable for this guy. So let's go ahead and move on to the East. The East was a little disappointing this year. Leading up in the regular season, they looked like they were going to be tough, opponents. Let's just go ahead and fast forward a little bit. We know that obviously the Pacers got knocked out. Atlanta once again got swept by LeBron and them boys. Detroit got swept. Do you consider that this Cleveland team sweeping all these teams, are they anywhere near the LA Lakers that swept the West in 2002?
Not really, because to me, I think they avoided disaster with that Detroit team. Had that Detroit team had some sort of a strong veteran scoring presence on that team, I think they'd have took them to a 7. But the fact that they played a young, kind of inexperienced Detroit team that still gave them all they could handle, but I don't know. I think they're running into very easy roadblocks. Granted, yeah, Heat fan here wish we could have played them, but not gonna happen. So I think the Cavs are running into a really set of easy, talented players on the East, but it's just they're not doing enough. Kyle Lowry and DeRozan having crappy games. So I think this Cavs team's got basically a one-race ship to the championship.
Yeah, I'm going to rip the East up a little bit here. First of all, I'm just going to say, and people are going to probably get on and say what they need to say about me, the East is a joke. It is a joke. From your 3rd seed all the way down to your 8th seed all have the same record. You could have flipped it any way you went to. I already said at the beginning of the season the East goes through LeBron. Point blank, period. There's nobody that's going to, come to a point where they're going to, disrupt Cleveland at all. As long as Kyrie's, healthy and Kevin Love's healthy, they are stacked from point A to point B. Second of all, you got to understand, Miami suffered injuries. If Bosh and Whiteside were there, we'd be talking about a different series right now, because that was the only team that was built and showed it during the regular season, built to take on Cleveland. So, I'm going to look at you right now, Toronto. You got lucky. You got lucky. First of all, I want to salute you guys for getting past the first round, but I don't salute you guys for getting past the first round the way you did. I can't, it's almost like you just got cookies.
Yeah, because put it this way, if Monte Ellis or Indiana had one more guy to step up, I don't even think they'd get past that first round. But poor Paul George had to take it all on his shoulders, try to do it all, try to carry the team. And it just obviously was too much for him to hold. And hence even getting his coach fired, Frank Vogel, which I thought was a dumb move anyways. But, if the Pacers had one more player that could have stepped up, we wouldn't even be talking about Toronto right now in this Eastern Conference final.
No. And Toronto, man, they're a bunch of role players that are a little bit better than average role players. I mean, Kyle Lowry, remember his days in Houston where he couldn't even win a starting job. He goes to Toronto. I mean, yeah, he's a good regular season, but he just stinks it up in the playoffs, and he has so far. And luckily, they're just, there's not enough talent in the East that they, just take him out, because, that's just the East. And then you got DeRozan, which, on any given night can be a decent player, but at the end of the day, he's just a high flyer, with a little bit of a Jimmy.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, if I'm a Toronto fan, the fact that he came out before the Miami series was over talking about how he wants to play in LA, and it's like, bro, we're still in the playoffs and you're coming out saying these things? Like, I'd be upset if I was a Toronto fan. So, yeah, you're looking at two basic role players that are big-time starters on a average team, but because you play in the East, you're going to get the number 2 seed, and you're going to be able to, get to the conference round. I think they're in trouble once this is all said and done.
Yeah, their best player is Valanciunas, hands down. I don't care what nobody says. I mean, he doesn't put in the much points because it's a point guard-driven league. So the guards, like the shooting guards and the small forwards and the point guards, are going to, drill in majority of your points. But if we went back to old school basketball, your man Valanciunas would be a 2010 player any day of the night. Point blank, period.
Oh, yeah, easy. I mean, he's a big guy, 7 foot, about 250, 260. The boy got range, he got skills, he's very talented. Go and feed him the ball. Obviously, he's hurt right now, but I'm just saying, like, man, he was killing Miami. He was killing the Pacers. You got to get him the ball more, but right now they in trouble. So
yeah, if Valanciunas was in right now, they still get swept, but they wouldn't be losing by 40 and now 20 points. And I want to touch bases on Cleveland a little bit here. First of all, I skipped over Atlanta, and I'm gonna tell you why. They need a rebuild. I'm telling you, I think Al Horford will probably be in the bid for going over to Portland. If Portland is smart, they would go for Al Horford.
It sounded like Houston want him, but yeah, okay, we can take a shot at him too. I'd take, he's a nice big guy, but let's just stick him legitly at the 4. Let's not try to do this thing that Atlanta does, stick him at the center, stick him at the 4, and find a legit center. But yeah, Al Horford, I think, is gone. Maybe even Jeff Teague gets traded. I think that team's solely going to be Paul Millsap. But yeah, Atlanta definitely stunk it up.
Atlanta stunk it up twice. I mean, they call them the Spurs of the East, but I don't see, other than the Buhauser coming from the Spurs, I don't see no Spur-ish about them, because Spurs know how to win in the postseason. So, I mean, yeah, I understand that Houston wants Al Horford, but you also got to take it to account. I don't know if I know what Howard's doing. I don't know if he's going to opt out. He may stay there just to bug James Harden because he's that childish.
Hey, I got 25 million reasons to stay if I'm Dwight Howard. I mean, you buy into your last year, your contract, that's what it is. So, yeah, maybe Dwight Howard does stay.
And Portland's in need of a center. They're going to dip their hat into every possible situation. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins on the market, Al Horford, possibly a Dwight Howard. But if I'm Portland, I stay away from Dwight if he goes on the market because you don't want that kind of disruption in the locker room. I stay away from Boogie, and I think Boogie is the best center in the league. But as far as a young team that don't have a lot of veteran leadership no more, you need to get a guy that's a veteran and that's gonna make Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum better. Al Horford's your guy. You don't even have to throw him at the 5. You can stick, Mason Plumlee. Keep all your centers and put them at the 4 because they're lacking in power forward anyways.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the move that Portland's going to make, I like it. Like I said, just got to stick him at the 4. Al Horford's always been a power forward. Even you go back to his Florida days when it was him and Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah was the center, did all the dirty work, and Al Horford got them finesse shots. Obviously, he could help because he's 6'10". But yeah, Portland, if you're thinking of Al Horford, man, stick him at the 4.
That would be my guess though. But so that's why I skipped over Atlanta because they're a joke. They're a bird that flew in the sky and got shot down. Point blank period. LeBron James had the nice rifle. He aimed it, and now he's had dinner with you guys. He's hungry for more. So in this Toronto series, it will be a sweep. LeBron James, all those records that you are setting just don't mean nothing to me.
This is your one game, Toronto, to get one. If you're going to get one, this is the one tonight. Because if you don't get this one, it's a sweeperoonie. So please, please do us all in the playoff land a favor and win tonight.
Yeah, I do want to shout out to Cleveland for finally clicking together. But at the end of the day, man, this is the easiest run. The reason why I don't relate them to the 0-2 Lakers is because Lakers went through a Sacramento King that could have won a championship. They went through Portland Trailblazers that, made it at that time 21 straight times to the playoffs, and they were still a good team. And surprisingly, the only team that they did lose to that year was in the championship against Philadelphia, one game against Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson wasn't having that.
All I got to say for this Cleveland team, please come into the finals healthy. If this is actually your finals run, please, please come into the finals healthy. No Kyrie, no Kevin Love, because we tired of hearing about y'all not coming in the finals healthy. Please come in the finals healthy.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't scoop down to the East's level. This has been an easy ride for you. I guarantee you, whether it's OKC or Golden State, which I believe is Golden State that's going to be there, you're not going to get those same shots. You're not going to be shooting 25 threes. LeBron, did not necessarily struggle, but trust me, Andre gave him all he can handle, and that's why Andre was MVP of the finals.
I'm sideways wanting to see the KD versus LeBron, but yeah, either way we go about this, if they're getting to the finals on an easy road, yeah, you're not going to have that playing the Thunder or the Warriors because both those teams play really good defense, even though right now they're not showing against each other, but definitely game planning for you, and we're talking about the ship. Oh, yeah, it's not going to be no easy stretch. So, yeah, just come healthy. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, so now I'm just gonna kind of turn bases a little bit, talk about, other than basketball because they got me heated right now. Let's talk about some MMA. The Cyborg made her debut. How'd you feel about that bad girl?
She went to work. She just chasing Ronda. I know she lying, saying she ain't chasing Ronda, but we all know she wants to see Ronda because this is the reason why she came over to the UFC. I know she still got a title in her other little division, but she came to the UFC to fight Ronda, finally to get that fight. So I think Cyborg did her work. Everybody want to see her and Ronda. Everybody want to see that.
I want to see it, that's for sure. First of all, I want to see Ronda just go beat that girl for the 4th time, get her belt back, and I want to see Cyborg, Ronda, and I want to see them both healthy. I don't want no excuses. I don't care about depression. You go see a therapist. You do what you got to do. But I want to see that fight happen. I also want to see if Conor McGregor comes back and, if he's going to stay in weight classes, if he's not going to stay in weight classes. I mean, what is his future?
Well, I think if he's trying to stay in the UFC, I think he should stay right at like his featherweight. I don't think he should jump up anymore to that lightweight division. I mean, if he does, okay, do this fight for Nate Diaz, get it over with and done with. But go back, fight Jose Aldo one more time, and stay in your lower weight division. Otherwise, maybe take that fight with Floyd.
You know what? I've been, I didn't even want to bring it up, but you touched a sore spot in me right now, brother man. McGregor is one of my favorite fights. Being an Irish descent, I love to see an Irish guy go in there because Irish people, in the words of Finley, they love to fight. But I'll be the first to tell you, in the history of MMA, there has not been a successful MMA fighter to get into a boxing ring and go hands with a boxer.
I seen a report today said something about Floyd offered McGregor $50 million to hop in the ring. Obviously, they'd have to talk with Dana and all that junk, but I mean, come on, $50 million. Get it done, Conor. Maybe you can do the American people proud and maybe just knock out Mayweather and everybody be happy and they'll love you forever. Get it done, man.
But you know what, though? He takes that fight for $50 million. Thinks he's the Irish El Chapo. But if you lose that fight, do you realize you're now losing 2 fights in a row? One, we talk all that crap about going up a weight class saying you're going to dominate. 2, you talk all that crap of going into a different sport and say you would dominate. That's 2 egotistical losses. Is that going to hurt his career or what?
He might, if he loses this fight with Floyd, if it actually happens, he can't talk no more. Chael Sonnen did a lot of talking back in his UFC things. He won some, he lost some. But if Conor does another fight where he's talked all this trash, and especially if he gets KO'd or something, he just got to shut up. But do the fight, Conor. Come on, let's see it.
We just want to do the fight just because we want to see it. I personally be the first to tell you, I don't think a boxer can go in, unless he's a kickboxer. I don't think a boxer can go into an MMA ring and be successful. And I don't think an MMA fighter can go into a boxing ring and be successful, unless it's Kimbo Slice. Kimbo Slice was originally hands, and then he wanted to do all that extra stuff. So this will be interesting to see. It definitely could shape the sport, if it bad or good, in my opinion.
Oh, I mean, I really hope it does happen because, I mean, I think it'd be good for the sport because boxing itself is having issues getting good fights. I mean, I know there's a big one coming up, Keith One-Time Thurman and Sean Porter. That's going to be actually a good fight. But outside of that, and the Canelo versus Triple G. But really, boxing don't got no good big-time fight. So I think this McGregor versus Mayweather, if it really happens, it'd be good for the sport of, fighting.
Yeah, I agree. Well, everybody, it was a good talk, man. We got a little heated. I wouldn't be surprised if Stern gave me a call and fined me for bashing the refs. But
it's Adam Silver, bro.
Oh, does it matter anymore? Does it matter?
Yeah. I mean, he's a young commissioner.
David Stern would have fined me. He's but Adam Silver, same deal. Give me a call, fine me 25 cents because that's all I got. I don't have that 25 mil or 25K. I only got the 25 cents. Go ahead and fine me for bashing the refs. But at the end of the day, you need to tighten shift. Brother man.
Yeah, maybe you need to get them some contact lenses because the refs is missing stuff, bro.
Maybe I need some contact lenses because I can't tell if it's David Stern or Adam Silver. Maybe we all need lenses. Maybe the refs are seeing something we're not seeing because I saw a blatant slide.
Yeah, he did look like he was trying to slide home.
I tell you what, exactly. He was sliding home all right. He was sliding like nobody's business. He was sliding like frozen on ice.
Yeah, I had to go back and watch it on my big screen, and yeah, he slid. He slid like he was playing hockey.
Yeah. So, it was a good show. It's good to get back and talk some sports. Hope, once again, like, subscribe. Do all that fun stuff that you guys do on the internet. Pretty soon we're going to be getting some video content along with our shows. We're going to do some type of FaceTime interviewing. So you can definitely, get to see what we're talking about. I want to add some more video. But mainly, I just like to talk sports. And I'm glad you guys listen. You got any last thoughts, my man?
Everybody enjoy, their weekend, their work week. But, yeah, Triple G versus Canelo Alves. Fight's got to happen. Go pay for that fight.
Pay for that and pay your taxes. Those 2 things.
Pay your taxes, people.
Pay your taxes. All right? Thank you for tuning in. Have a nice day.